All right, what do you say? Let's get after it. It's time for the great debate with Ana Navarro and Steve Cortes. Good to have you both. Steve Cortes, here's the proposition.
Thank you.
I can't trust the president when it comes to Putin. I can't trust him to do the right thing. He's done it too many times the wrong way. Make the case.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think in your last segment, I think you asked for, I believe the word you used was the signature move to show that he's serious in confronting Russia. I'll tell you the signature move. It was the United States military in Syria literally slaughtering hundreds of Russian mercenaries in the battlefield. So that, I mean, if nothing else tells you that he is serious about taking on Russia when it's an adversary to the United States, that certainly does. This is a president who, and listen, I was critical of his words in Helsinki. I thought he had a poor performance at the podium, but his actions are the opposite. And in terms of the actions, and I think there's a lot of actions that show his toughness against Russia, I can think of none, though, more serious than actually taking on paramilitary forces from Russia and, again, slaughtering them in the field of battle in Syria.
The counterfactual is that the war is far from over there and President Trump wants to pull the people out. But let's take your premise as it stands. Ana Navarro, is that good enough for you?
No, of course not. Look, if you take a look at just what's happened in the last 7 days, it should be of extreme concern. It should be disturbing. It should be worried. We should be scared about what's happening here. The breadth and scope of the conspiracy of the Russians with the United States, with the elections, with what's going on in our nation is very, very scary. What have we seen in the last 7 days? We've seen a debacle in Helsinki, a president of the United States slobbering over Putin, a murderous, corrupt oligarch, like if he was a little poodle. What else have we seen? We have seen a Russian spy get detained, arrested, who had worked her way into the NRA and other conservative circles and gotten very close to the Trump circles. We have seen for the first time in 4 years that the State Department did not issue a condemnation against Russia for the downing of MH17. The anniversary was 2 days ago. We have seen that this White House is actually considering, has not absolutely ruled out the idea of turning over an American citizen, a former U.S. ambassador, McFaul, to the Russians for questioning because they want him there. I mean, how much more do you want to see? And this is just in the last 7 days. And add to that, what we have seen, the zigzagging of Donald Trump on this, failed cleanup attempt on Isle Russia. It has been a disaster. And I'm just talking about the last 7 days.
So, Cortes, let's do one of your favorite things to do. Let's play the if Obama did it game. If Obama had that list of accomplishments over the last 7 days, you wouldn't even use his last name. You wouldn't use his first name. You would only call him by his middle name. All you'd be saying is Hussein all the time because you would believe that somehow he had some type of nefarious connection, and that's what it was all about. How do you justify it?
No, I wouldn't be saying that. Listen, as much as I disagree with his policies, I would never question his patriotism and his love of our country, even though on a mic that he didn't know was hot, he promised, quote, flexibility to Medvedev, and who said, I will transmit that
Winds
to
up looking
Vladimir,
like Conan the Barbarian
Putin,
compared to what we saw in Helsinki in terms of the weakness of that move.
But listen, here's what's going on. I really believe here's what's going on with Ana and with a lot of people on the left right now, is this has become the birtherism of the left, because it really has. And by the way, and I was totally against the birther
and
attack.
Racist and bigoted.
Right, agreed. And so is this.
Where's the racism and the bigotry and the wrongness?
And hold on. And Chris, I was on record saying that it was fake and it was nonsense. It was an attempt to delegitimize President Obama because we didn't beat him at the ballot box. And the way to counter that is not by resorting to falsehoods. This is the exact same tactic because the left still can't get over, over the 2016
lied about
defeat.
Russian
interference.
He said he agreed with Putin.
No. And
he said it might be somebody else. Come on, man.
Chris.
And no. Hold on.
Let me just say this.
That's a key
Hold on,
word.
Anna, weigh in on a point. I don't want to dominate the debate.
Listen, every time you are on, Steve, you like to call me part of the left. Let me remind you that I have been a lifelong Republican.
Well, you are.
Let me remind you that I was a Republican
when
Donald
Trump.
Listen, I don't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me. You know I can't stand that. I was a Republican when Donald Trump was a Democrat. I was a Republican when Donald Trump was an independent. I have supported every Republican that's run for president. And I can tell you today that Ronald Reagan, who had the strength of his convictions when he was confronting Russia during the Cold War, when he was confronting Gorbachev, would be rolling over in his grave today if he saw the behavior of Donald Trump and this administration, and he saw the number of so-called Republicans who turn the other way and somehow find a way to excuse this inexcusable behavior.
Look, here's, I think, the reality. There is this idea that Donald Trump is somehow a Russian agent. This is the birtherism of the left. It is. I mean, that is the reality of the situation. And why? And let's be honest about this, Chris, because you and many people still can't believe that he won in 2016. And instead of analyzing
you couldn't
why
believe he won in 2016.
and the angst of the American people.
You didn't think he was going to win.
That's not true.
You didn't think he was going to win.
I did in the end. It took me a while, but I did in the end, Chris. I did, and I
like
fought,
after the results
is
is when you saw
for him
Come
to
on,
win.
Steve.
No,
Listen, you got to do better
that.
than this, my
Before
friend.
that,
You've never heard me say that Trump is a Russian agent. I get criticized all the time because I practice this I only know what I show edict. I don't know if it's my legal training or just journalism. I don't get into the speculation about what we know. I just say the probe should end. I'm not saying he's a Russian asset. I'm saying that he sat on his asset when he was supposed to be confronting Putin. That's why he went there, to be man-to-man, right. Steve. Remember? Nobody can be in the room,
right.
One-on-one. And he came out of there and said really bad things that hurt the country, and you know that. So don't put it on me. Don't put it on fake news.
No, listen,
put it on the president, Chris, where it belongs.
And again, I agree with you, and I was very public about that I think he performed poorly at that press conference.
Then don't say that we think he's a Russian asset. Don't say that.
Look,
it's not true.
Hold on. This is
the reason
but this is being said all over. Hold on.
Not
this
here.
Is being said
We're having
all
a reasoned debate.
Media.
And you're going to this nonsense.
That he is compromised by Russia.
The reason people have questions is because it is hard to explain. It is impossible to explain and understand this behavior by a U.S. president to undermine his own U.S. intelligence agencies over and over again. This is a guy who likes to pick a fight with just about anybody.
True.
He picks a fight with dead people. And yet when it comes to Putin, all we see is deferential treatment.
That's the weird part, Steve.
So you begin to ask yourself, you have to ask yourself, if you're a reasonable person who is not a cult member,
that's the weird part.
What is the reason?
I mean,
it's got to be that he's compromised in some way. Whether it's golden showers or whether it's money laundering.
Look, and I don't put any stock in any of that stuff.
There has got to be a reason.
Because I haven't seen any proof of it. But I'm telling you, the curiosity is contagious because it doesn't make sense on its face, Steve. And you guys think that he's doing the right thing by going on Trump TV to the mothership over on Fox where they don't ask him any questions and he gets to lie about whatever he wants, and that's good because it reinforces the base. It doesn't expand the tent. It doesn't reassure the American people, the majority of whom did not vote for him, that he has their best interests at heart. And that's where you should be focused, not on blaming me with birtherism. That's nonsense, Steve.
Well, no, I believe this is birtherism. But by the way, he went on CBS News tonight. He's not only going on Fox TV. So that's an unfair criticism of him. And CBS News has been no friend to him. But
you think that interview was like what happens
when
when people are on here? You think it's the same standard? You think it's the same job that's being done? You know he picks his venues very carefully.
I think CBS News has been. Look, I'd like him to come on CNN. I'm a CNN person. I'd love him to come on
here. It's
an
open invitation.
I think he can handle it. I think he'll do great.
He would. He's his best advocate.
He'll do great.
No offense.
Yes. And,
all right.
And I hope he does. It's one of the reasons he's president, right? Is he did
but
that
all
continually.
I'm saying is this.
Here's the thing, too. I think.
Go ahead. Make your last point. I got to go.
When you talk about, by the way, the American voters, and you say the majority in the popular vote didn't vote for him, that's true. But you know what? The Electoral College, which is how we elect our president, which is not insignificant, the reason he won the Electoral College vote is he spoke to voters who don't care very much about Moscow, Russia. They care about Moscow, Idaho. They care about their wages. They care about jobs.
That doesn't mean they want to see
Moscow, Russia cared about the elections, and we have no idea what their influence led to.
On all of those metrics, he is succeeding immensely as president. And that's why
he has good things going
for
him, but they should not be used as an excuse for the bad.
He has succeeded in carrying Vladimir Putin's water all over the world, attacking NATO, attacking Montenegro.
This is birtherism.
Ridiculous.
It's not birtherism. Yeah. Anna Navarro,
did you object when the birtherism was carried out by Donald Trump?
I sure did. I sure
really?
did. Play the tape.
I'm going to check it, Cortez.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it.
I mean,
how
ironic to throw out birtherism when Donald Trump is the guy who birthed birtherism.
This is the birth of irony. Anna, Cortez, thank you.
The death of shame.